What happens when a host famous for warmth meets a guest who refuses to play along with warmth? It started like any other morning on Live with Kelly and Mark. The band hit its cue. The audience clapped in rhythm. Coffee cups lifted in living rooms across America. Kelly Ripa danced to her seat with the familiar energy that had carried the show for decades. Then came the introduction. Our next guest is a duchess, a philanthropist, and one of the most talked-about women in the world. Please welcome Meghan Markle. Applause filled the studio as Meghan stepped out from backstage. Perfect posture, measured smile, controlled stride. Kelly rose with open arms. Meghan, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for having me, Meghan replied smoothly. The words were polite. The tone was cool. They sat. Mark offered an easy greeting. The audience settled into anticipation. Everything looked normal. It didn't feel normal.
So, Kelly began brightly, leaning in, you've had such a busy year. New initiatives, new projects, life in Montecito. How do you balance it all? Meghan tilted her head slightly, lips curved in a small, practiced smile. Balance is about clarity, she said. When you know what truly matters, the rest organizes itself. Not everyone prioritizes correctly. The phrasing was subtle, but it landed. Kelly's smile held steady. That's interesting. A lot of working parents struggle with that clarity. Any advice you'd give them? A soft laugh from Meghan. Advice depends on context. What works in my position wouldn't necessarily apply to someone in a different situation. The pause before different felt intentional. Mark jumped in gently. You've also been focusing on your foundation. Tell us what you're most excited about right now. Our work is focused on systemic change, Meghan replied. Mental health equity, women's empowerment, long-term structural impact.
That's wonderful, Kelly said warmly. Is there a specific initiative our viewers could look into? For the first time, Meghan's expression tightened just slightly. I don't isolate one effort over another, she said. It's all interconnected. Of course, Kelly nodded. I just thought it might help people understand the impact. If they're interested, they can research it, Meghan responded evenly. I'm not here to pitch. A flicker of surprise crossed Kelly's face before she recovered. Well, we appreciate you spending time with us, she replied. Mark shifted the conversation. How are things at home? Harry and the kids doing well? The temperature changed. I prefer not to discuss my children, Meghan said quickly. Privacy is intentional. Absolutely, Kelly said. I understand that. Just generally, general becomes specific headlines, Meghan cut in. I've learned that. A murmur of discomfort rippled through the audience. Kelly recalibrated again. Let's pivot to something lighter, she offered. You've been spotted at some amazing restaurants in California. Any favorites? The question was harmless, friendly, designed to ease tension. Meghan's eyes cooled. I don't think about food as entertainment, she replied. I think about sustainability, ethics, health. Kelly blinked. Sure, she said. But people love discovering new places. For some people, yes, Meghan answered. The studio air tightened. Kelly leaned forward slightly. Our audience enjoys those moments. It makes guests feel relatable. Relatability is often a performance, Meghan said calmly, and I don't perform. That line hung in the air longer than anyone expected. Kelly's expression shifted almost imperceptibly, not defensive, just alert. I treat every guest the same way, she said gently, with curiosity and warmth.
And that sameness can sometimes overlook nuance, Meghan replied. The rhythm was breaking. Each question met with resistance.
Each attempt at connection reframed as reduction. Still, Kelly continued, you've lived in both the UK and the US. Do you miss anything about your time abroad?
I don't romanticize the past, Meghan said flatly. Nostalgia can be a trap.
Mark tried again. Was there anything positive you'd highlight?
Positive and negative aren't always the right frameworks, Meghan responded. The audience shifted in their seats. Kelly nodded slowly.
I'm sensing, she said carefully, that you feel misunderstood.
I feel, Meghan replied, that media often prioritizes comfort over truth.
There it was, the first direct shot. Kelly's smile softened into something firmer. This show has had difficult conversations before, she said evenly.
6-minute segments framed between cooking demos? Meghan replied. A quiet gasp. The polite beginning had officially ended, and everyone in that studio could feel it. The morning still looked bright on camera,
but beneath the studio lights, something had started to burn. Part 2. The Polite Mask Slips. Approximately 3,000 plus characters. The air in the studio didn't explode, it tightened. Kelly kept her posture composed, but the easy sparkle in her expression had dimmed. She wasn't smiling out of reflex anymore. She was calculating.
You think we avoid difficult conversations? She asked calmly.
Meghan crossed one leg over the other, movements precise.
I think certain formats aren't designed to hold them.
Mark leaned in with a measured tone. We've interviewed activists, survivors, world leaders. We've had real discussions here.
And how long do those discussions last? Meghan asked. Before the tone shifts back to comfort.
A few members of the audience exchanged glances. Kelly answered evenly.
We balance serious and light. That's intentional. It makes the show accessible. Or digestible, Meghan replied, which isn't the same thing.
There it was again, the implication. Kelly's voice cooled by a degree. Accessible doesn't mean shallow. I didn't say shallow. You didn't have to. A quiet ripple of tension moved through the room. Mark cleared his throat.
Let's not misinterpret each other here. I'm not misinterpreting, Meghan said. I'm observing. Kelly leaned forward slightly. You've suggested this platform is insufficient, that our viewers prefer distraction, that our format minimizes depth. I need to understand what you expected walking in. I expected engagement, Meghan replied, not surface pivots. You've rejected every topic I've offered, Kelly said plainly. Foundation work, your experiences, life transitions, even food. The audience laughed softly at that last word, breaking the tension for half a second. Meghan didn't smile. Because the framing matters, she said. You're positioning me as lifestyle content. You're on a lifestyle show, Kelly responded. The exchange landed harder than either woman anticipated.
Meghan's jaw tightened.
So that's all this is? No, Kelly said, maintaining eye contact. But it is part of it. Silence. Kelly's tone shifted again, not warm, not hostile, just honest. I've interviewed thousands of people, she continued. Every single one gets the same courtesy, the same tone, the same openness. And equality can ignore context, Meghan replied. Kelly blinked slowly. So you wanted different treatment? I wanted awareness. Of what? of the weight attached to my presence. The statement hung in the air. Mark shifted slightly. We introduced you respectfully. Yes, Meghan replied, but respect isn't just words. Kelly's composure tightened. I'm trying to follow you, she said, because from my perspective, I've been welcoming, curious, supportive. And from mine, Meghan replied evenly, there's an undercurrent. An undercurrent of what? Kelly asked. Judgment. The audience reacted audibly now. Kelly straightened in her seat. I haven't judged you.
You've challenged me. That's not the same thing. It feels the same.
Kelly exhaled slowly. Feelings aren't always aligned with intent. Meghan's eyes flashed. So now my perception is invalid? No, Kelly replied, firmer now, but it doesn't override reality. That was the moment the politeness cracked. Mark looked between them carefully. The producers were undoubtedly whispering into headsets. The cameras were still rolling, live. Meghan leaned forward slightly. You asked me to simplify my work, to condense systemic issues into neat anecdotes. I asked for examples, Kelly corrected, because examples help people connect. I don't need to perform my credibility. And I don't need to be accused of minimizing you. The audience was completely silent now. Two strong personalities, two very different definitions of respect. Kelly's voice lost its softness entirely. You came here assuming resistance, she said, and every neutral question has been interpreted as hostility.
Meghan's chin lifted slightly. Because neutrality often protects comfort, and hostility protects ego, Kelly replied before she could stop herself. The words landed hard. Mark froze. The audience gasped. The temperature in the room didn't rise, it dropped. And everyone watching knew the line had been crossed. There was no going back to small talk now, only forward, toward whatever came next. Part 3. The Walk-Off. Final, approximately 3,000 plus characters. The word ego still lingered in the air. No one moved. Kelly hadn't raised her voice. She hadn't leaned forward aggressively, but something in her tone had shifted from accommodating to unshakable. Meghan stared at her. Ego? She repeated quietly. Kelly held eye contact. You've reframed every question as an attack. At some point, I have to ask whether that's about the question or the expectation behind it. The audience inhaled collectively. Mark's expression tightened. The producers were likely counting down in his ear, urging a commercial break. But neither woman seemed ready to disengage. You think I came in with expectations? Meghan asked. I think you came in prepared for resistance, Kelly replied, and when you didn't get praise or deference, you interpreted neutrality as disrespect. The word deference hit like a dropped glass. Meghan's posture stiffened. So now I expected to be bowed to? I'm saying, Kelly answered steadily, that I treat everyone who sits in that chair the same way. Titles don't change that. The implication was clear. The room went still. Meghan stood abruptly. Her chair scraped sharply against the studio floor, the sound louder than it should have been. I'm not going to sit here and be diminished, she said. Kelly rose more slowly, her voice calm but firm. You haven't been diminished. Yes, I have. You've been asked questions. They were framed to trivialize. They were framed for our audience. And your audience prefers comfort. Kelly's composure hardened completely. Do not insult the people watching this show,
she said, clear and direct. They are not shallow because they enjoy lightness in the morning. A few scattered claps broke through the silence. Meghan's eyes flicked toward the crowd. "So this is about applause now?" she asked. "This is about respect," Kelly answered. "For me?" Meghan pressed. "For everyone." There it was, the line that split the room. Meghan grabbed her purse from beside the couch, movements sharp, controlled. "This is exactly what happens," she said coldly. "When women speak directly, they're labeled hostile." "No," Kelly replied. "When anyone speaks with contempt, it's felt." Another audible gasp. Mark finally stepped in slightly. "Okay, let's reset." "There is no reset," Meghan cut in. She turned toward the exit, then paused, spinning back around one last time. "You'll regret this," she said.
Kelly didn't flinch. "The cameras are rolling," she replied evenly. "Everyone can decide for themselves." A final beat. Then Meghan walked off the set. Her heels struck the floor in crisp, echoing steps. The studio doors closed behind her. Silence. Mark looked at Kelly slowly. "Well?" Kelly exhaled, the tension finally visible in her shoulders. "Live television," she said quietly. The producers cut to commercial. When the show returned, Kelly faced the camera directly. Her smile was smaller now, realer. "Well," she began, "that wasn't how we expected the morning to unfold." A few nervous laughs. "I want to say something clearly," she continued. "This show is built on conversation. Some conversations are easy, some are uncomfortable, but they require mutual openness." She paused briefly. "I stand by asking questions. That's my job, and I believe our viewers deserve honesty." Applause filled the studio, steadier this time.
Mark nodded. "And sometimes live TV reminds us that not every exchange goes the way we plan." They transitioned into the next segment. The band played, the lights stayed bright, but something had shifted. Within minutes, clips flooded social media. Some praised Meghan for refusing to tolerate perceived subtle jabs. Others applauded Kelly for refusing to bend under pressure. Slow-motion replays dissected tone. Comment sections erupted. Team Kelly, Team Meghan. Neutral observers debating whether confidence had crossed into condescension or whether pushback had crossed into defensiveness. But one fact remained undeniable. The illusion of a polished promotional interview had shattered. Two powerful women, two different interpretations of respect, one live broadcast, and no script to soften the edges. The question wasn't who won. It was whether either of them truly understood what the other was trying to say. And that tension lingered long after the camera